Hi, my name is Mattilyne Dhane, and I'm from Sela High School in Yakima. I'm concerned about our timber resources in Washington. What steps will you take to combat deforestation and protect Washington's forests?
Thank you, Maddie, for that question. This is very near and dear to my heart. I live in a district that has a lot of forests, and it's one of the reasons that I think we live in the most beautiful part of the world. So I greatly appreciate this question. One of the things that I think is really important is that our forests are not only beautiful and also good for our physical health and mental health, and also very important for the natural resources, but they're also a way to make sure that we are decarbonizing and storing carbon in a natural way. And so one of the things that I think is a good way for us to move forward and make sure that we are protecting our natural resources and our forests in particular is through the Climate Commitment Act. There is funds set aside for natural ways to decarbonize our economy, and recognizing forests is one of those and protecting our forests is one of those ways. So I want to make sure that we are continuing to protect our forests. And then additionally, also in my district, there has been previous efforts to make sure that we are also recognizing the importance of urban forestry and urban forests. And that builds on work that now Senator Bill Ramos previously worked on, specifically using my district as an example of an area where we have not only forests that are in the more rural areas, but also in the urban areas, and we need to make sure that we're protecting those as well.
Thanks, Maddie, for your question. Forestry is so important, and I think that we have to realize that the forests are a living and breathing resource. One of the things that we've done over the last generation is that we've tried to preserve the forests as if they are pristine and non-changeable. But in fact, they've been growing old because we're not managing and stewarding those resources properly. And you think about those small towns up in the Okanagan. You can drive 500 miles and there's not a mill left because we tried to preserve the trees to save the spotted owl. Instead, we let the forest grow old and we let the forest die, and then the forest burned. And it ruined all the habitat that we were trying to save. What it meant for the families living in those timber communities, it meant that they lost their livelihoods. It meant that those kids lost the opportunity to go to college. It left generational poverty in areas of our state that should never have been. We're rich in timber resources. It's a living and growing and breathing ecosystem, and because of that, the forests provide tremendous amount of climate services to our ecosystem and to our state's air quality. It will not provide those services if they grow old and burn, and so it's very important that we change course now and we start managing the timber and providing jobs, providing opportunities to build building supplies for housing, and also manage that ecosystem so it doesn't burn and release its carbon catastrophically. And the thing that gets me about the timber industry is that it is one of the best ways, because of the sizes of the landscape scale of forest, to really mitigate for our carbon emissions, because those trees breathe in the carbon dioxide and turn it into wood. It's a fabulous way to sequester carbon, but you can't do it if the trees grow old and they're not physically able to do those ecosystem services for us. We could have tremendous change in the quality of the air and the quality of life for Washingtonians and people across the world if, as a state and as a nation, we restored proper management of our forest resources. Those resources are the wealth of our future generations. If we manage them correctly, we can have better housing for less money. We can have better schools because they provide funding for our schools. So I really urge you to really learn about forests and the ecosystems that services they provide.